Hignet's corner, beyond Bent. Janssen! And Blackburn Rovers are 18 minutes away from a Premiership return.
As far as Stewart, just outside the penalty area, clips it central for David Dunn. David Dunn equalises! It just had to be! Dax corner and it goes, glance towards goal! And Rovers have taken the lead! And Charlie Mulgrew has scored his 14th of the season. It may well be the goal that sends Rovers back into the Championship.
Good evening, Rovers fans, and welcome back to another edition of On the Other Side for the new 21-22 season with me, Ryan Hildred from Rovers Chat. We're back with fans, as we found out last week, and Rovers get ready for their first away game of the season as we visit Millwall at the Den. And I'm delighted to be joined once again by Millwall fan Lucas Ball from News at Den. How are you doing, Lucas?
Yeah, not too bad, Ryan. Thanks for having me on, and hope you guys are doing well too.
Yeah, we are, and thank you for joining the show again, mate. You came on twice last season, so we appreciate you coming back and talking all things Millwall with us. So thanks ever so much, mate. And Rovers fans, as we usually say, if you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel, please hit that subscribe button. Please turn on all notifications using the bell icon, and please give this video a big like if you can. We've got plenty of content coming this season, including another new show straight after this one. That's Friday Night Live with me, Joe, and Luke. So join us on our channel for just a half an hour chinwag, really, about the football and about a couple of other things as well. Super Chat is available as it always is. But as we always say on this channel, we are sponsored by Blue Rose Capital, and we are sponsored by sixyardsout.com. So, Lucas, let's get on with this match preview then. It was another top half finish for Millwall last season, coming 11th this time round after 8th the season before. Not as close to the playoffs last season as you were the season before, perhaps, but you were above a number of well-fancied clubs, including Rovers, actually. So how did fans view the season last season?
Yeah, I think generally it's another successful season. You know, we've given ourselves another solid foundation to build on, I think, and just getting ourselves, as we're probably still working on a bottom 6, bottom 8 budget really in the Championship. So to have back-to-back top half finishes and 3 top half finishes in 4 seasons since we got back in this league, is certainly no mean feat. And I think overall we viewed it as a pretty good season. A few moments of frustration, but understandable given some of the situations that came our way. We had a couple of COVID outbreaks. I think at Christmas we had about 8 players test positive. In October, November, we had all our coaching staff had to isolate because 3 or 4 of those tested positive. So Sean Williams and Alex Pearce ended up being in charge for a couple of games, actually. And we had just had loads of injuries, and a couple of our probably bigger money loan signings in Ken Zahor and Troy Parrott both really struggled with injuries and just didn't get going. So yeah, there were elements of frustration, certainly, but I think we were always one of the clubs who were going to struggle more without fans than most. And overall, we gave ourselves a good foundation to build on this summer, and with fans back, who knows this year.
Yeah, definitely. We'll come on to maybe the impact of fans in a moment. I've got a question about that one, but if we just talk about the manager first, Gary Rowett, I think I'm right in saying that this is his now second full season in charge of Millwall. He's coming into his second full season, and he obviously does have some success at this level, particularly with Birmingham City. So with those top half finishes that you've had, some Championship clubs are in a bit of disarray this season, and a stable manager, what are the fans' hopes for this season?
Yeah, I think the hope this season is for a real go at the playoffs, to be properly in that mix this year, I think, especially with the business we've done. I think, bringing someone like Scott Malone in on a permanent deal was key after last season, and he got his first goal of the season on Tuesday night. So started the season in similar vein to what we were hoping after, I think he got 6 goals or around that from left wing back last season. So he was obviously a key cog down that left-hand side, and getting him tied down is really good. George Long's come in as sort of a backup goalkeeper, and he'll try and wrestle the number one shirt off Bielkowski, but he's got a job on his hands to do that after the couple of seasons that man's had since signing. And then in the other areas, Benicophobe's come in, and we're hoping he can be that 10-15 goal striker that we need, take some of the burden off of Jed Wallace and add some more goals from the forward line. And then George Saville, who comes in as a goal-scoring midfielder. I think this is his 4th spell with us now. So he knows the club. He's got good experience at this level, and I think he was one of Borough's best players under Neil Warnock last year. So, and then you've got Dan Ballard coming in at centre-back, who really highly rated Arsenal youngster. So yeah, I think with those signings, I think the aim is for a proper top 6 challenge and to be in that mix. Hopefully we can be in and around it. I think Rowett would like to get one more through the door, probably more a creative player who can play that number 10 role or play up front, I'd say. But we're reliant on a couple of players going out for that because we've spent all our budget and we need to shift. I think the 2 players most likely to leave are probably Bodvarsson, who, to be honest, not many people are going to miss, and Ben Thompson, who's been a good servant to the club over the years and a Millwall fan, living his dream, playing for this club, but just not sure he's got that quality to kick us on at this level, and his game time's probably going to be limited again. So if he wants to move, that's completely understandable from his perspective as well. So yeah, I think with Rowett, we just got to keep building. So he's got that success at this level with Birmingham and has generally done pretty well with us so far. Probably one of the most tactically astute managers we've ever had, certainly the most tactically astute in my time following the club. So that adaptation of different systems throughout the season and that sort of thing is going to help us massively too, I think. And he'll know how to get the best out of certain players in different positions. He's already shown that by moving someone like Jed Wallace to an out-and-out striker role for large periods at the back end of last season. Jed was very effective there. Mason Bennett playing more central for much of the season as well, and that was a real key part of our run of form at stages towards the back end of the season too. So yeah, I think hopefully we can get a top 6 finish, but I think we'll be there or thereabouts, but we might just miss out.
And, if the hopes are for a top 6 finish, we've got a little graphic here. We have to talk about the draws that Millwall had last season. If you look at the right-hand side of that graph, the most in the Championship last season with 17. And you drew on Saturday as well in your first game back. So, what's happening in your games that, you're drawing them? And what do you need to do to turn those draws into victories, which, might be the difference between playoffs or not?
Yeah, I think we certainly looked more of a threat from set pieces so far this season and pre-season, which hopefully that could be a factor in turning some of those into wins, because we certainly, for the height that we've got, you look at the back line alone, you've got Jake Cooper, Alex Pearce possibly in there, Murray Wallace, Sean Hutchinson, Dan Ballard looks a really good threat in pre-season from set pieces too. And then just other areas in there as well. You've got, Matt Smith coming in, Benicophobe is not bad in the air. Tom Bradshaw, for his height, is pretty good in the air. Ryan Leonard. So you've got a lot of players who should be good aerial targets in there, and we didn't really score many goals from set pieces. So hopefully we can add that string to our bow this season a bit more, and that could maybe be a factor. I think the other thing was just getting goals from all around the pitch. We were far too reliant on, particularly the back end of the season, Jed and Mason Bennett scoring goals. Hopefully Afobe can get some goals. Matt Smith, his first season with us, he got 13 Championship goals, so hopefully he can have more of a return to that sort of form, but his starting time may be limited given the other players in those areas and the lack of mobility that unfortunately comes with starting Smith. And just a few more goals from midfield, really. I think that's going to be the key, is that midfield roles last season we didn't score enough at all. George Saville, his last full season with us, he got 10 in the Championship. So if he can get anywhere close to that figure, then someone like that, add in, even if he can get 7-8 goals from midfield. He got one on Tuesday as well, actually, obviously in the EFL Cup, not in the league. But so hopefully with those factors, then we can, turn some of those draws into wins and score a few more goals in the process, because defensively we were pretty solid last year. And I think actually with Dan Ballard coming in, we've probably got a better defensive lineup this year than we did last. So yeah, it's just going to be adding a few more goals really from different positions and all over the pitch, which Rowett was certainly more than aware of heading into the summer window.
Yeah, certainly it's something that plagued Rovers last season as well. Goals from midfield. Certainly, we had a big reliance on Adam Armstrong to get the goals. So we certainly need some from midfield as well. So let's go on to the match itself then, Lucas. You did mention it earlier. It's going to be the first game with, no restrictions in terms of fans. So home fans who are going to pack the den out, I am sure. You've obviously made that a really intimidating atmosphere in the past. So 2 questions. Are you at the game, and how much are the fans looking forward to it?
I'm not at the game myself, no. Unfortunately, just a few different things mean I can't be. But yeah, the fans are really looking forward to it. From what I've seen on Twitter this week, people are absolutely buzzing. The people who went on Tuesday night were buzzing to get a win. Yes, it's an EFL Cup game, but after 18 months without being barely able to step foot in your team's ground, I'm sure most fans were just delighted to see any goals or action from their team. So, yeah, everyone seems to be really buzzing. I think, as I mentioned earlier, the atmosphere for us probably was as big a factor as for any other club in the league. So, obviously every club was affected by it. I'm the first to admit that, and I'm not denying that by any stretch. But I just think for us, I think Rowett even mentioned it. I think it was Curtis Davies, the first game back after lockdown in 1920. He said, Derby spoke about it at half time and said, look, we're never going to have an easier chance to beat Millwall at the Den because without fans, that atmosphere just isn't there, obviously. And it's not anywhere near as an intimidating place to go. So, yeah, hopefully the fans can pack it out, get a nice big attendance in there and, make it that intimidating atmosphere that it's known for and just a really good atmosphere. And hopefully that can sort of roar the players on and give them the extra motivation. Not that I'm sure they'll need much more than the prospect of a playoff push this season, but it's just going to give them that little bit extra, you hope, to push them over the line in certain games. And that could be a big factor for us too this year.
Absolutely. Certainly going to be an intimidating atmosphere for Rovers. So if we look at the teams themselves then, Lucas, there's obviously a big reliance on this man who I've popped up there, Jed Wallace. We've just lost our top goal scorer, Adam Armstrong, to Southampton, of course. So, if we just look at those stats there, down that right-hand side in particular, he's got double figures in terms of goals in the last 2 seasons. Assists have obviously gone up as well. So hugely important player for you and scored on Saturday, of course. So are there any rumours about Jed Wallace potentially leaving the club?
No, not really, to be fair. It's a bit of a weird situation at the moment because he is heading into the final year of his contract. So, obviously we risk losing him on a free next summer if we don't sell this year. But one, I've not heard of that much interest this year. I'm not saying that I know everything that goes on with Millwall's transfer dealings and far from it at times. But, it's... there's not been many rumours of it at all. And I just think for what we'd get if we were to sell him in terms of a fee, you're probably looking this summer, because it's the last year of his deal, you're probably looking 1.5–2 million, I think, for a fee, which for that, I don't think we'd be able to bring in anyone better than what he offers us, and anyone who, he's already settled at the club, he's happy, he's got no desire to leave as such. Obviously, some people will argue that not signing a new deal does show a desire to leave. I don't think that is what it is with Jed. And people are saying, bump the contract offer up, give him more money and all that. I'm like, I don't think it is that. I genuinely just think he wants to test himself at the highest level. And if he ties himself down to a new 3–4 year deal with Millwall, that probably rules a lot of clubs out for a couple of years. And if then in 2 years' time he's not in as good form, he's probably lost his chance of that move. So, this season, yes, he's got that motivation of trying to fire us towards promotion. And I think if we were to go up or maybe get playoffs and stay in the Championship, he would sign a new. If we went up, I'm sure he definitely would sign a new contract with Millwall, because I think he'd love to play Premier League with this club, having been here for 5–6 years now. But at the same time, I understand that football's a short career. He doesn't want to completely limit his options, and for him and what he's given us in the last few years, I've got no problem with that at all. And I think that fair play to him, because he's been a brilliant player for us, and and a signing that I think when we first made it, we all thought, oh yeah, he'll be a good player in League One when we first signed him on loan. I don't think any of us thought that 5-6 years later he'd maybe still be here and establishing himself towards probably club legend status and certainly moving towards a lot of people's favourite players over the years. So yeah, he's been brilliant, and just hopefully we can keep him for longer than this season, but I'm aware that might not be the case.
Yeah, definitely. Just hearing you talk there, Lucas, real similarities to what we've just gone through with Adam Armstrong, not the club legend status, but, he had 3.5 years at the club, joined us in League One, has really done his time with Rovers, scored a lot of goals, been a really important player. And, he left Rovers, with all the fans' blessing in many respects, and like Jed Wallace, he was into his final year of the contract, wasn't going to sign it. So we've obviously decided to cash in and get a deal. So completely understandable. And it is good when fans can just recognise that as a transfer. It just makes it a bit easier to deal with on both sides, doesn't it? So Lucas, then before we came live, as we always do on this show, I've asked you for a predicted 11 tomorrow. Appreciate it's early on in the season and things can change. I will just get rid of this banner as well so that we can see that. So just talk us through your side, who might cause Rovers some problems tomorrow?
Yeah, so just the team in general, the 5-3-2 setup is generally what we've been playing with since probably February, March last season, maybe even January it first came into use, because we've been struggling in the 5-2-3. So just that slight adaptation to give us that extra body in the midfield was really key. So the back five pretty much, I think, picks itself after last weekend. These guys were good at QPR generally. Hutchinson in particular was excellent. Dan Ballard had a good debut. Could be Murray Wallace or Jake Cooper on the left side of the three. Cooper had a bit of an injury, played his first 90 minutes of the season on Tuesday. So whether he gets to go for 2 90s in a row, I'm not so sure. So I think he might just start with Murray Wallace. And then, Danny McNamara didn't play in midweek, but did play at QPR. And I think his final ball at times was a little bit erratic, but I think he'll keep his place. And Scott Malone just is the first choice left wing back by some distance, and a very good player, and hopefully can cause a goal threat from that left hand side as he did last season. I think he did score at Ewood Park actually. The midfield three, you got sort of Keith and Beld will sit there in front of the defence. He'll be the sort of holding player, not afraid to go in for a challenge, and I'm sure he'll love going in for some of the harder challenges that he goes in for in front of a packed den, because they'll get right behind him as soon as he does. And then you've sort of got 2 almost box-to-box midfielders either side of that, generally in the way we play it. Saville will be the slightly more advanced because he's the one expected to get more goals from midfield, but it could then be Leonard or Evans on the right side of the midfield three, I think. Evans started at QPR. Didn't think he was as impressive as he could have been, and Leonard played against Portsmouth, but on the right side of the back three. Thought he was very good in his first game since returning from injury, since February, his first start since returning from injury. So, yeah, it'll be either him or Evans there, I think. And Leonard can pop up with a goal, but not too often we've seen him do that. Hopefully that's something he can add this season as well. And then I would expect it will be Afobe and Jed Wallace up front. Started last week and they linked up well at times. Jed Wallace, obviously the key man. If he can run at the back line and start to cause problems and get balls into the box, or start to link up with Afobe, Saville, and Malone in and around the edge of the box, then that's going to cause problems for Rovers. So if they can get tight to Wallace and stop him playing, certainly force Millwall to play in different ways and different areas, which would give us a more interesting challenge, I think, just because we haven't been as used to that, and Wallace has generally been just crucial for us in pretty much every game. And then, Afobe up front with him. Didn't have too many chances at QPR. I think he had one decent chance that he maybe should have put away. Well, that might have even been in midweek. But hopefully, he can cause problems as well. He's a good presence. He's a smart player. Can play with his back to goal and can play the other way too. So I think it'll be him up front because Bennett's out injured still, and I don't think Matt Smith will start just because Rowett will want to press with a bit more intensity from the front, and you lose too much of that intensity if you start Smith. So I don't think Bradshaw was impressive enough to earn a start on Tuesday night, and John Daddy Budvarsson is pretty much transfer listed. So yeah, I would very much expect that it'll be Afobe and Wallace up front, and they're probably going to be their link up, and stopping that link up between them, Saville and Malone, I'd say is probably going to be the key sort of battle between the two sides.
Certainly looks a really good Championship side on paper there. Lots of names who are well established in the Championship. So if Rovers are going to hurt Millwall tomorrow, Lucas, where can we hurt you? Where's the game plan got to be for us?
I think probably just getting pace in behind is probably the biggest thing. Malone's quick, and McNamara is certainly no slouch. I haven't really seen too much of Ballard in terms of his pace. Hutchinson and Murray Wallace, particularly Murray Wallace, have a tendency where they struggle a little bit more against pace. Hutchinson's obviously a bit more protected now, being in the middle of that back three. But yeah, I think if you can get pace running at Wallace, certainly someone like Tyrese Dolan, if you can get him coming in just off the right and getting at Murray Wallace rather than Scott Malone, that could cause us problems, I think. And just, if you can get pace in behind the back three, a little bit more difficult because we don't tend to play too high a defensive line. So the space to play that ball in behind is obviously lessened because we're aware that our defenders are not the quickest at times. So yeah, I think that's going to be the key for you guys, is certainly try and get them in behind, and that's probably going to be the biggest threat. Aerially, realistically, you're probably not going to get too much change out of that defence. So crosses into the box and trying to play for set pieces, that sort of route, I don't think that's the way to go at all for Rovers. I definitely think it'll be pace and running at the defence, because they're good defenders in their own right, and you're not going to get past them every single time running at them. But certainly when there's a bit of skill and a bit of pace involved, that's probably when we're going to struggle more, I'd argue.
Definitely. Well, it's a shame for Rovers that we've just sold one of our quickest players to Southampton. So we did see Tyrese Dolan in a false nine position against Swansea in the last game. So maybe Dolan as a false nine with Brereton and Gallagher coming in from the sides. Maybe that's going to be the area to hurt Millwall. So we will see. And Lucas, before we come on to the predictions, you did mention, signings and rumours and Rowett wanting to bring in one more. Are you expecting Millwall to make another signing? What are the rumours you're hearing? Who are you being linked with?
I think recently we've not actually been linked with too many players, just because it's been made very much public that we haven't got any budget really left to spend. So earlier in the window, we did try for Josh Windass, who I think would still be a brilliant signing, but I just think what Sheffield Wednesday would want is probably going to be above what we can afford to pay at this point. So probably not the most realistic option, as much as I'd love to see him in a Millwall shirt. I think he got something like 16 goal contributions last season for Wednesday, which, for a relegated side, that number of goal contributions is seriously impressive, and probably actually someone that Rovers should probably look into now they've got a bit of money to spend, hopefully, after the Armstrong. I think Windass, you could do a lot worse than Windass, certainly. I just think we're very much reliant on Thompson and Bodvarsson, probably those two, if anyone does go, leaving to make room for any signings. Bodvarsson, there's not really been much interest at all, because I think he's scored something like 4 goals in 70 odd appearances since he signed for us. So there's not really been a lot of links, because he's not prolific, shall we say. And Thompson continually linked with a move to Portsmouth. Whether anything comes of that is another matter. Just their fans would love to see him back. He had a really impressive loan spell there a couple of years ago, and it will probably be a good move for him to re-establish himself in League One, and then hopefully work his way back up with Pompey or with another club after that. But I think that'd be a good move for Thompson. But whether anything actually materialises amid the ongoing links is a different matter completely. And I don't know what Portsmouth budget situation's like. I think the issue there might be the wages. I think Thompson's probably on a championship wage, and Portsmouth, after the decline they had and being at League One for quite a few years now, they probably can't afford to be paying that sort of level wages. So it's whether he wants to take that wage cut as well, which with another baby on the way, maybe he doesn't.
Indeed. So Rovers fans, we have reached the part of the show where I will put Lucas on the spot, and I'll also put myself on the spot, and we will do our score predictions. So please load up the comments with your score prediction for tomorrow, and we'll run through them before the end of the show. I will just give a shout out, though, to FM Works, to Rick, and to Ollie, who are keeping the comments section alive tonight. It's a bit quiet, probably the start of the Premier League football, Lucas. So hopefully nothing that you and I have said. Score predictions, please, Rovers fans. So, Lucas, I will go with you first. What is your prediction for the game tomorrow?
Oh, I think with the home crowd back in front of us, I think I'm gonna go for us to win. I think particularly with Armstrong leaving this week, obviously Dolan adapting to what's I think a quite new role for him. He's generally played on the right, hasn't he, rather than as a false nine. And so maybe with him adapting to a new role, and then Gallagher and Brereton coming in, I think that front three, it still has the potential to hurt us, certainly. I think less so than with Armstrong in it, obviously, and that's why someone's paid £15 million for him. So I think we'll win. I'm going to go 2-0. I think it could quite easily be 2-1 or even a 1-0, but I'll go 2-0 for now. I just think with the crowd behind us, I think maybe if we can get a fast start, that'll be key for us. We had a really fast start at QPR, and then we sort of calmed down and QPR took control of the game. But if we can have that fast start and then sort of get a bit of control ourselves, and then hopefully later in the game kill it off with a second goal, that would be a perfect first game back with fans, really. And yeah, so I'll go 2-0.
So Lucas says 2-0. I agree. The fans are absolutely going to play their part, Lucas. I think it's going to be a supercharged den for that first league game since, all of this pandemic. We have got a fairly young looking team that might just get a little bit intimidated by that atmosphere. However, I'm not going to predict us to lose. Our record at the den is pretty okay compared to some championship clubs where we're not so good. And we did the double over you last season, which was a nice surprise. So I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw on the basis of our record generally is okay at the den. But I do think the atmosphere is absolutely going to play its part. And if those Millwall fans are in the faces of some of our young players as they're getting the ball for a throw-in or anything like that, it's undoubtedly going to play its part, undoubtedly. So 1-1, I am saying. So there we go. Lucas goes 2-0 Millwall. I say 1-1. Let's have a look at the predictions. Alejandro, you were first in. The Mexican Rover is in the house. Yes, you are, Alejandro. He's going for 2-0 for Rovers with Rothwell and Dolan. And Brio just behind. Gallagher, am I asking too much? No, I don't think you are. I think those four players played the last game, Alejandro. So hopefully we'll see those. Dave goes 1-1. Mark goes 2-2. Optimize on my kind of wavelength. 2-0 Millwall, I'm afraid. Pat Den changes everything. Yep, it does. Chris has gone 3-1 Rovers, Diaz 2 and Trav 1. Ollie has gone a 1-1 realistic, a 1-0 Rovers optimistic, and Rick scrappy 1-0 to Rovers, Dolan to win a pen, and Diaz to bury it. So, yeah, another mixed bag in the comments. Probably draw just edges it, I think. So yeah, thank you Rovers fans for those predictions. And Lucas, thank you for joining us on the show tonight. As ever, really good to get the insight of Millwall. Obviously, Rovers and Millwall don't get too much coverage in the EFL, despite the fact it's meant to be an equal playing field of 24 clubs. So always good to get your insight to understand what's going on at Millwall. And yeah, when you can get to the den and get to a game, enjoy being back. We were there last week. So yeah, hopefully you enjoy it when you're back as well. So thanks for joining us.
No worries, mate. Thanks for having me on. Really enjoyed it, as always.
No worries. And Rovers fans, we are about to go live in 15 minutes with a separate show called Friday Night Live. Just something different that we're trying this season with me, Luke, and Joe. So in about 15 minutes' time, we'll open up a new stream where we'll just preview the Millwall game and reflect on some other things that have happened this week. So come and join us on there. Look out for the link on our Twitter page and also on YouTube. As I say, if you're not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. Please turn on all notifications using the bell. And please give this video a like and all of our other content. We'll probably see you in about 15 minutes, those of you that are staying. And Chris, yeah, that is a good comment to finish with. Love the way everyone is calling him Diaz now. And actually, yeah, let's just call him Diaz, because is it Brereton? Is it Brereton? Who knows? Let's just call him Diaz. What a way to end. So, yeah, Lucas, see you soon, mate. Enjoy the game. Catch you in 15 minutes. We will leave you with our sponsor message from 6yardsout.com. See you later. The Rovers Chat YouTube channel is proudly sponsored by 6yardsout.com. They've got retro football from every era with mugs, phone cases and much more. They also have plenty of Rovers goods, including apparel with the famous 94-95 season and this season's kit. Check them out using the link in the description below.